I wanted to quickly preface this video with just a note of, I guess, a disclaimer more so than anything. I wanted to apologize for the sort of shoddy audio that has been coming out of this camera for the last couple of videos. Whenever I don't use the external microphone, for some strange reason, a noise was getting introduced into the audio stream of the video. And that kind of led me down a troubleshooting path this afternoon. After I had finished the video, I had already edited the video. It's actually edited right now. I wanted to record this and add this to the front of the video because I think I discovered what the noises were. So if you pay attention through the video, you kind of hear some bumps and like just noises. It's actually literally this cage. So this is a cage that is made for this camera specifically, the DJI Action 3 camera. And it is made out of aluminum. And as it moves, it rattles. It's unfortunate because this thing is literally designed to protect the camera in case it hits the ground. This is, I guess this is a $30 cage versus a few $100 camera. So this gets destroyed, the camera gets saved. That's the idea anyway. But it looks like I can't use this anymore because it makes the noise that rattles to the point where it actually goes into the microphone of the camera. But right now, you can see I'm not using the microphone. I'm using the camera's built-in microphone. I did take this off, and there's no noise. So, and I've tested this several times, and I did narrow it down to this. So, I did notice that inside here, there's no rubber anything really, and the tolerances are just too loose. So I'm going to see if I can fix this, because if you open this, it still rattles. So it's not the doors or anything like that. There's just some parts and pieces in here that are not put together well. But yeah, so enjoy the video, and sorry again for the audio. I'll do better. Thanks. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another video. My name is Tom. Thanks so much for joining me here today. I have you guys strapped up to the rollover protection cage of Kubo, and I thought, with it being a relatively cool Sunday afternoon, gentle breeze, actually it's more than a gentle breeze, but I thought it'd be a perfect day to take Kubo out and mow down our yard. This will be the second mow of the season. I mowed about 8 days ago for the first time. I wanted to kind of get some of the brown, dead, grass taken out. And that seems to have kicked the grass underneath into gear. So now it's growing very quickly. And I have a feeling that the mowing season is officially on, which means I have to get a service kit for this mower. So that's going to happen this week, and I'm going to take you guys along for this thing's first major service. I mean, I've had it for a year, no complaints whatsoever. I think the only issue I had with it, I think one or two times, is when I hit a stump or a set of roots and the mower deck actually separated from the mower, and I had to reattach it. But it wasn't, it wasn't a real difficult thing to do. And other than that, just wear and tear. I think it's got 39 hours on the clock. So we're coming up on our 50-hour service. So I'm trying to do at least the first service on schedule. And then everything after that, we'll just kind of, log stuff in the book and make sure that it's taken care of as we go. I love this thing. I can't imagine. I don't know why anybody would do this, but I feel like having your own little subcompact tractor like this on a 1 acre property, It's not a lot of property, but it's still enough. Like, you wouldn't want to be, you wouldn't want to be caught pushing a lawnmower across this. And I actually see people who hire, kids, teenagers, whatnot, out of school on the weekends or whatnot to mow their lawns for them. And these kids are just barely like you could tell by their face that they'd rather be anywhere else but there. So you wouldn't catch me dead doing that. And the best thing I could have done for myself is to purchase this unit. It is a unit. It's, it's a 4x4. It's got the 3-point hitch right here. It's got the hydraulic interface up front that you can put a bucket on the front or a plow if you had to use it in the snow. I mean, this thing has all sorts of expandability natively from Kubota and other implement manufacturers that sell stuff for these. And this thing's great. It's got a PTO attachment back here where it'll drive some kind of machinery back here depending on what you've got for it. And this thing moves. If you really step on it, it'll go. I'm not sure what the top speed is, but it's somewhere around maybe 10 miles per hour or so. And for something like this, I feel like that's plenty. I think you'll bounce off of it before anything else. But it does have a seatbelt, which I can't really pull out all the way to show you, but it does have a seatbelt, cup holder, the works, all the essential refinements. But my concern for this thing is definitely the first service that will be done this coming week. We're going to tear this thing down, drain all the fluids, replace all of the filters, and we're going to do it for the first time. I've never disassembled one of these before, and I'm sure I'll say that a few more times between now and the time I actually disassemble it. And first things first, I'm going to make sure that I have a complete metric set for sockets and wrenches, because this thing is 100% metric. So you can fake it a little bit, but I don't want to strip nuts or bolts or anything like that. And I also need to get a filter wrench. So that's going to be one of the things that we do this week. But we're definitely going to drive down to Newbury, to the dealer where I bought this tractor from. And then we'll get the 50-hour kit for it. And then we'll go from there. But for now, I'm going to flip you around and enjoy the time lapse. So thanks for joining me, and have a great rest of your weekend. All right, that's it. That's all she wrote. The rest of this stuff I'm probably gonna get with my weed whacker, just because I can't get the mower into certain places. And ever since they did this new little spout right here, I can't just go over it like I used to. So I kind of went through it, and then you guys probably saw the tree get in the way. My tree's kind of overgrown, so I'm hoping to trim it this year after it blooms. So I'll let it live its life the way it is right now, and then from that point forward, I'll probably trim it after all the blooms disappear. Let me show you the clock on the mower here. So, I got 38.2 hours. So there's actually less hours on this than I thought it was. I just added about 2 hours because that's typically what it takes me to do. Maybe 90 minutes. You know, I do stop and occasionally take a break, and I have my tea over there. But I think I also took a phone call, sent some texts. So yeah, maybe an hour and 50 minutes. I didn't actually look at the clock before I started, but that's that. So I am still about 11 and a half hours shy of the 50-hour mark, but I'm still going to do the service early. There's a YouTube channel, Dave's Automotive. I love that channel. Lots of educational stuff when it comes to basic maintenance, as well as engine rebuilding. Very educational. Dave's been doing that kind of work for forever, and he's just huge in Utah, probably on the West Coast, in terms of just the amount of work that he has. So anyway, my point is that he, in one of his videos, he mentions that if a manufacturer tells you to do oil change at 10,000 miles, divide by 2, do it every 5,000 miles, because he sees the guts and glory of every engine that comes through his shop, and some of those engines look like they've been through just a war, and they have not been maintained properly, and they cost tens of thousands of dollars to either replace or rebuild, and it's a massive expense. And you know what? I agree with that. It's knowledge that it's knowledge like that you don't really think about, but when it comes down to it, a 3-cylinder Kubota engine for this tractor, no matter which way you slice it, will cost much, much more than a service kit that includes, a couple of quarts of oil, transmission fluid, or hydraulic fluid, all the filters, everything that you need to do the service on this thing for the first 50 hours. And I agree with that. You want to take care of your equipment. This mower was very expensive, and although I did get a good deal on it, it was still very expensive for me. It has been, to date, my largest purchase that's not a car. So obviously my EUV was the most expensive thing I ever bought. This, number 2. And actually, I guess the house is number 1. That's number 2. And this is number 3. So either way you slice it, this is a very expensive piece of equipment. It's a lifesaver in more than one way. So the least I can do is take it to the spa once in a while. So I'm going to actually exceed the manufacturer required maintenance schedules, and I'll do them early. 50 hours is not a lot, but it is 2 seasons. So this tractor already crossed a year's worth of service, and it still has factory oil in it. Now, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But when engines are built and all the components are fresh and machined like down to the micron, it's not unheard of for an engine to have a break-in period, which for this mower is probably the 50 hours. And then at that point, you change the oil, you get rid of all the metal that may have shaved off, that may have done some clearancing or whatnot. If there was any imperfections in the build, that'll clean it out. The filter will trap it, and you don't want that oil to be in there longer than it has to be. So, if you really put it like into thought that way, I should have done this service that I'm about to do at the end of last season when I knew I was done mowing for the year. But I didn't. So I'm two mows in, so it's about 4 hours, 3.5, 4 hours of time on this engine for this season, and that's it. There's going to be no more mowing until I do the service on it, which will happen this week. And assuming I can get all the parts and there's nothing, beyond my control of getting, like, filters or fluids or whatever. I'm also going to make sure that I do an inventory of what tools I need. I don't think I have a metric set. I have a few metric wrenches from my Volkswagen days because I used to do the oil changes on that. But those oil changes were, larger motor, because VW engines, the diesel ones, are not much bigger than the 3-cylinder that's in here. But I'm going to make sure that I have a metric set, and I make sure that I have hose clamp tools, stuff like that, to just make life a little bit easier. And then I'll walk you through what I actually will use, and make recommendations based on that. They opened up a new Harbor Freight late last year here in town, so I'm going to knock it over at some point and get the tools I need, and make sure that my little Yukon toolbox that I got also last year has what I need to do the service on this piece of equipment. I'm actually looking forward to it. I've never done it. I've done the basics. I made sure that there's no grass or dirt or dust built up on the airflow portion of it, where the Kubotas actually suck in air right here through this little grill, and you have to make sure that right in here is a screen. You have to make sure that all those are kept clean and ensure that you're not blocking any airflow. Otherwise, you'll overheat the engine and you could cause some serious damage. I keep an eye on my temperature gauge, my coolant gauge, which is right over here. And if I turn the key a little bit, you'll see where the engine is. And this is typically where it runs when it's hot, just below half. Actually, it's probably about half between the red line and cold. So yeah, and you can see that I filled this mower up before I mowed 4 hours ago, I guess, for this engine, and it's still full. So, and the mower is sitting in my garage on level surface, so that is an accurate reading. So I love the economy of this thing. I do get good hours per gallon, I guess. I know that's not a measurement, but this little engine is actually really efficient when it comes to fuel. But I do have 2 cans of diesel here in the garage that, just I will probably not go through all of it. So I have 40 liters, so that's 10 gallons of fuel. that will probably last me for most of the season, if not all of it. So anyway, enough yapping. I think that pretty much covers it. I hope you guys enjoyed the hyperlapse. I tried something new. It's really difficult to shoot stuff when you only have one camera, and to jump off and move the camera and get other shots. That's great and all when you have time to do it. So I'm in a little hurry now. Duchess is over there getting anxious. She's looking at me, and I can hear her whimpering. So she wants to get off the lead. I have her tied up to the pole over there around the corner because she likes to go into the neighbor's yard. For some strange reason, these last few weeks, she hasn't been abiding by yard rules, and she knows I'm talking about her because she's looking this way. Anyway, you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great week ahead, and I'll have some videos for you guys this week on my journey down south to Newberry to the dealership to get all the parts and pieces for this service that we're going to do, and then we'll figure out how to do the service because I've never really done it. We'll look at the manual. We'll look at what Kubota recommends. I'll see if I can get my hands on a service manual and see what they recommend. Maybe there's some diagrams or something we can look at, and we'll go from there. So until then, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.